Hi guys, this is W Dutch here. This is lesson 8 of our YouTube Learning Dutch series. This lesson we're going to talk about the verb to know, or do you know him? In Dutch there's two options for this verb. There's weten, which is to know, but weten really refers to knowing a piece of knowledge. Do you know a fact, an exact a date, or whatever. There's also kennen, which is also to know, but it's more like, are you familiar with? So it's not specific, it's not a specific piece of knowledge, but it's like, are you familiar with that person, that car, that brand? What are you familiar with them? Do you know them? Right? Okay. So these are two verbs I want you to know. They're very functional to extend your vocabulary, your ability to express yourself based on what we already know. So if we go to the verb weten, it's ik weet, jij weet, hij weet. And hij, of course, also means, goes for zij and het, right? So it's all weet. Wij weten, jullie weten, zij weten. That's the plural, right? We, you guys, and they. Weten, plural, same as the full verb. We know that by now. Since the first person singular weet is already ending in a T, there's no difference between I and you or he. Normally you add the T in the you form. In this case, weet already has a T, so the form is actually exactly the same. Okay. If we look at kennen, it's ik ken, jij kent, hij kent. Right, here we see the plus T in the you and he form. Plural is wij kennen, jullie kennen, zij kennen. Kennen, again, full verb. Pretty straightforward, right? So you might say, ik weet wie dat is. I know who that is. So you know exactly who that is. But if you say, ik ken hem, or ik ken hem of haar, then he's like, well, I'm familiar with him. Like, I know him. I know him from somewhere, whatever. You're not saying you know exactly who that is, but you're like, yeah, I've seen him around, or I think I know his name, or whatever. You're familiar with him, right? So another example sentence, nee, jij weet dat niet. Or nee, jij kent hem niet. No, you don't know that. Or no, you don't know him. Right? So nee is no. And not is niet. And it goes at the end of the sentence. Nee, jij weet dat niet. Nee, jij kent hem niet. Right? So rather than English, you don't know him. The not is actually before the no. But in Dutch, it's at the end of the sentence. Right? You might say, if you react positively, ja, hij weet dit wel. You might say, ja, hij weet dit wel. Or, ja, wij kennen dit wel. Yes, he does know this. Yes, he is familiar with this. Right? Ja is yes, obviously. Difference in Dutch, you see the word well, W-E-L, quite a lot. And the thing is that, you know how you use not when you say you haven't done something, not, I do not know him. You always use the word not when you're denying something or you're being negative. But when you are being positive in English, you don't have a word for that, so you don't emphasize it. You might say, well, I do know him. I do. Or I am familiar with him. So you kind of emphasize that verb, that word in your pronunciation. But other than that, you don't really do anything else. But in Dutch, if you emphasize it, instead of saying niet at the end, you say wel, which basically just emphasizes the fact that you do know him. Ik ken hem wel, or wij kennen dit wel. Hij weet dit wel. So it can be, ik weet dit niet, or ik weet het wel, for example, right? So we can go look at a few more example sentences. Weten jullie wie dat zijn? Do you know who they are? By the way, literally it says, do you know who that are? That are. Of course, you don't say it like that in English. You might say, you know who that is, but you don't say who that are. But in Dutch, dat can also be a plural. You can use it like that. You could say, do you know who they are? But you can also say, do you know who that are? So, weten jullie wie dat zijn? Kennen zij hem wel? Do they know him? Right? Emphasize on the fact that they do know him. Ken jij haar niet? Don't you know her? Weet je dat niet eens? Don't you know that? Now, niet, and now we've added eens. Now, een is like a or one, but eens is also once, right? So literally saying, don't you know that once? And basically, like, it's translated, used more to say, you don't even know that, like even, that's more the emphasis, like you don't even know that, you know, like it's emphasizing like how stupid it is that you don't know, or how weird it is that you don't know. Weet je dat niet eens? Like, don't you know that? Don't you know his name by now? You know, yeah. So niet eens, not once, not at all. That's really what it means. And you'll hear that quite often, this expression. Weet je dat niet eens? Okay, more sentences. Wat is dat? Right? What is that? Easy. You could reply, dat weet ik niet, maar hij wel. They're saying, dat weet ik niet, maar hij wel. So, I don't know that, but he does. Right? So, emphasizing that he does, so you add wel. And you don't even know, you didn't need to use the word. Like you could say, dat weet ik niet, maar hij weet dat wel. But if you just simply say, dat weet ik niet, maar hij wel, then we know what you're talking about. So you don't have to say the verb weten. You don't have to use it. Okay, how about, weet je wat zijn naam is? Do you know what is his name? Ik weet dat hij Mark heet. I know that he is called Mark. Right? You might ask, hoe heten zij? How are they called? Answer, dat weet ik nog niet. Ik ken ze nog niet. Dat weet ik nog niet is I don't know yet. Nog niet is not yet. If you say, ik ken ze nog niet, is again, I don't know them yet. I'm not familiar with them yet. So nog niet is not yet. Right? You can also use that. You might ask, jullie weten mijn naam niet meer? You don't know my name anymore? Right? Niet meer is not anymore. Meer on itself is more. But if you say niet meer, you mean not anymore. Reply, ik wist het wel, maar nu niet meer. Wist is the past tense of weten. We'll look at the full conjugation there in a minute. I did know. Ik wist het wel. Wist is past tense. I did know. But now, not anymore. So, at some point you knew something because you studied it, but now you've forgotten, right? Okay, so nog niet is not yet. Niet meer, not anymore. Okay? Wie ben jij? Ik weet je naam niet meer. Who are you? I don't know your name anymore. Je naam, right? Je is also possessive. Naam is name. You could say, ik wist het eerst wel. Eerst is at first. So I did know it at first. but now I've forgotten it. Ik wist het eerst wel. Now, if you look at the past tense of weten, it's ik, jij en hij wist. So the singular is al wist. The plurals, wij, jullie, zij, is al wisten. So ik weet en wij weten. Ik wist, wij wisten. Okay? Another example sentence. Ik wist het eerst wel, dus ik heb het ooit wel geweten. So this one, I did know it first. Dus is so. So, I did know at some point. Or in this case, it's the voltooideelwoord, the past participle. So, I have known at some point. Ooit is at some point. Nooit with an N in front is never. But if you then say, oh, ooit, instead of nooit, without the N, then it's like, well, at some point in time, I have known it. I did know it. All right? Another example. Jij wist het toch niet meer. Toch is actually something like a rhetorical tool, meaning like right or something like that. Isn't it? You know. You didn't know anymore, right? Something like that. Or I thought you didn't know anymore. That's not literally what it says, but it's kind of like, oh, you didn't know anymore, right? I thought you didn't know anymore. Yeah, that's what the toch implies. Otherwise, you just say, you didn't know anymore. Zij hebben dat nooit geweten. They never knew, or they have never known. That's the literal. They have never known, right? Jullie wisten dat niet eens. Jullie wisten dat niet. Jullie wisten dat niet is you guys didn't know that. And if you would say jullie wisten dat niet eens, then it would be you guys didn't even know that. You didn't even know that. Past tense of kennen is ik, jij en hij kende. Wij, jullie, zij kenden. Right? So this is a regular verb, which means it doesn't change. If you go from weten to wisten, that is completely different. But going from kennen to kenden, that's a regular, right? So we add de and den in the past tense. Why? Well, if you split up the word kennen into two syllables, kennen, last letter of the first syllable is the N. Then we check, is the N in soft ketchup? It is not. Okay, if it is in soft ketchup, then the ending would be te or ten and a t at the end of the past participle, voltooideelwoord. Since the N is not in soft ketchup, we use the D. So it's kende, kenden, and we use the past participle gekend. It ends with a D as well. Right, so that's how we know it's with a D and not a T in the past. Okay, just an example with the past participle, voltooideelwoord. Ik heb jou nooit gekend. I've never known you. Ik heb jou nooit gekend. Zij hebben hen ooit wel gekend. They have known them at some point. They have known them at some point. Zij hebben hen ooit wel gekend. Okay? Anyway, this was just some practice to build some more sentences with like the who, what, where questions that we already did and the verbs we already knew, and just taking it one step further with weten and kennen to know. That's it. Stay tuned for next lesson about the verb to go, which is both how are you and what are you going to do, for example. That's the next lesson coming up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, comment, And yeah, if you want free lessons in your inbox, go to doubleyourdutch.com, sign up with your email. You actually get native speaker conversations in your inbox. And there's also a course there that we sell. Anyway, until next time, thanks for listening.